Hey, hey, welcome back to the Hungry for Love podcast. I'm your host, Jillian Scott, and I wanted to take today to really explain and talk more about the Reclaiming, my new group coaching program, because this is not just about a list and set of diet rules. This is not about tell me what to eat and what to do in the gym. This is about reclaiming your body, your confidence, and your self-worth. It's learning not just how to lose weight once, but how to lose weight in a way where you can keep it off for life, where you can end emotional eating, end binge eating, break free from self sabotage and chronic patterns of getting into relationships with the wrong types of people. I know this because I did this too. I left a dysfunctional marriage and I ended up dating somebody even worse. I ended up dating a sociopath, not because I wanted to, not because I tried, but because I didn't know how to spot the patterns. I didn't know how to meet my own emotional needs. And at the core of that is really codependency. I was looking for someone else to meet my emotional needs. It's why I was turning to a dating app for a while and so quickly after my divorce and so quickly after a breakup. And often we can have a codependent relationship with food or alcohol. We turn to food to make us feel better. We turn to alcohol to help us relax or unwind. And this is not about just needing more willpower. It's not about, oh, I need to try harder. This is about understanding the patterns, and really, they are survival patterns. They're survival skills, coping mechanisms that were in place to help us at a time. And we can, on one hand, be grateful for them. They helped us get through some really tumultuous, really traumatic events. It's how our brain learned to process and handle what it couldn't make sense of, learned how to escape, it learned how to avoid, it learned how to prevent us from feeling something that wasn't safe. And now, as grown adults, we get to take that back and we get to create and cultivate the safety within first. And then we create the safety to lose weight, to not turn to food or alcohol to meet our emotional needs. We create the safety and what it looks like to be alone or to be in a healthy relationship. There are a lot of aspects where I didn't realize how challenging it would be to just be loved easily for who I am. Not because I didn't want it, but because I hadn't experienced that from most men in my life. My love was always conditional. Love was not always guaranteed. Love was very much determined based on who I was or how I acted or how I behaved, how I didn't act, following the rules, staying in line, doing what they told me to do. It was not this true, genuine, I'm loved for just who I am. And so having that, finding that, I would push that away. I could look back and I could see how I dated people like that. It's too easy. This can't possibly work. This isn't right. This doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel good. Something about it like didn't feel safe. And it's wild how this impacts our relationship with food and our diet habits and our chronic dieting, how it impacts our relationship with ourselves, how we think and talk to ourselves. So I just want to first say that nothing is wrong with you. I think so often in the diet industry, when it comes to relationships, especially when it comes to divorce, we have this deep-seated fear of like something it must be wrong with me. Something about me must be flawed. Maybe I could do diets when I was younger. Maybe my metabolism was faster when I was younger. Maybe things were just easier at one point, but now it's not working. Now I can't seem to cultivate and muster up the willpower to stick with this diet. And so rather than really looking at the diet or looking at the issue, looking at the other person, we are so quick to blame ourselves. And in part, that's because that's what other people would do. They would blame us for like we were the problem. We were the issues. We had the issues. We were the one with the trauma. We needed help. We just needed to stay in line, right? It was like if they couldn't control us, now we were the problem. And really, it was all backwards. But these are a lot of deep-seated patterns that we have to unwind. Okay, so nothing is wrong with you. And the behaviors that you have, the coping mechanisms that you have, these are simply survival responses. It's a coping mechanism. The emotional eating, the hyper independence, overthinking, self doubt, staying too long, leaving too fast, giving people the benefit of the doubt to the extreme, catching people in lies or thinking this is weird or this is odd, and still not calling people on their bullshit, being too afraid, lying to ourselves, lying to other people. This is not to say or to just try to condone these habits. This is not about like, oh, these aren't a problem. This is about understanding why they happen because they didn't just appear randomly. They formed as a way to keep you safe. These are all protective mechanisms, but that protection comes at a cost. And if your nervous system doesn't feel safe now, it will keep repeating these same patterns over and over again because at one point they worked, at one point they helped you. So now, even though you might be out of that toxic relationship, you might be out of certain patterns of dieting or toxic thinking, those patterns can still stay with us. And it's like whether we're trying to diet or lose weight or not, we can still be emotionally eating, we can still be binge drinking. And it's all about creating a healthier relationship with ourselves. It is reclaiming ourselves and who we are, not trying to fix yourself from a place of I'm not good enough. We need to end this need for protection so that we can rebuild our self trust. That's what helps to rebuild our self confidence, our self esteem, our self worth. It's how we change how we think of ourselves, like our identity, how we see ourselves. It's what I call our self concept. That is at the core of this. Because the problem isn't that we don't have awareness. We have a lot of awareness. Most of us are highly aware. We're like painfully aware of our shortcomings, of our challenges, of the obstacles, of like the constant, like I do what I say that I don't want to do, and I don't do the things that I say I want, right? Our challenge is more about integration. It's about the true embodiment of new habits. And we don't get to the embodiment of new habits and the integration without changing how we think, without changing how we feel and our capacity to feel, not just our capacity to feel negative emotions, because yes, that is part of it, but also to increase and create safety and increase the capacity to feel positive emotions without worrying about the other shoe that's about to drop or without worrying that this is too good to be true. It's normal that those come up. It is your brain trying to keep you safe. But this will also happen with weight loss. It'll happen in relationships, but it'll also happen of like, oh, well, that seems too easy. That couldn't possibly work. So we don't do the easy thing. We make it harder on ourselves. We overcomplicate it. But then also, it's like, let's say we are starting to take action. It feels kind of easy. We are losing weight, but it's also like we're in disbelief. We're still like, I can't quite believe this is happening. We're still not fully on board. It's still not safe. And that's okay. We don't have to shame ourselves for that. We want to just recognize where we're at so that we know how to solve it, right? We need to identify the where we're at in the process so that we can identify the real problem that needs to be addressed. Because it's not about the food. It's not about the alcohol. It's not about just taking it out of the house. It's not about just never going to places that sell cookies or to people's houses who buy or bake cookies. Like it is really about our internal dialogue about the cookies. It's our thoughts and beliefs about them being good or bad or evil or toxic. And this is where we get stuck, right? You can see the pattern. You can understand the pattern. You can even understand the origin to some extent. You know what you should do. You know what you want to do. And yet nothing actually changes. And that's where the frustration comes in. That's where the fear and the self-doubt and the self-loathing can really come in. But it's not failure. It's just your unresolved survival mechanism. It's a survival pattern, a survival strategy. Awareness explains the pattern, but integration ends the pattern. So we have to focus on integrating new beliefs, increasing our emotional capacity so that we can integrate and embody the habits that we want. But it's a process. And we need the thoughts, the belief work, the mindset, and the emotional capacity. We need the somatic nervous system work if we want to be able to take the action. And just like I talked about on a previous episode about commitment, it's recognizing when we feel down, we feel discouraged, we're not getting the results that we want, and not beating ourselves up for it, and choosing to believe in ourselves anyways, choosing to believe that we can figure this out. It's not that we aren't going to make mistakes. It's not about saying, well, I'm just always going to get it right and I'm never going to fail. It's that I'm not going to beat myself up when I do make a mistake. I'm not going to throw myself under the bus. I'm going to course correct. I'm going to figure out what can I do just a little bit better, just a little bit different. And we can have the real honesty to look at ourselves and to say, like, okay, I've been talking about this for weeks now. Why haven't I done it? Not from a place of shame, but from a place of curiosity and compassion, And sometimes we don't even have to understand why. We can just say, okay, I've been telling myself I was going to go to the gym and I was going to start exercising and I haven't yet. All right, that starts this week. And it only starts with one. We're just going to create a really simple, really easy baseline, right? Or maybe it's, I keep telling myself I'm going to track all of my successful urges and I'm going to track all the times that I say no, but from a place of self-love and am truly in line and aware of my hunger and my satiety. And I can recognize when I'm full and I'm satisfied and I don't need more. And I'm willing to tell myself no in that. I'm going to feel good. I'm going to feel proud of myself for that. And I'm going to start tracking it. I'm going to give myself a prize at the end of doing that 15 times. Doesn't matter how long it takes me to get those 15, I still get a prize. I get something for doing that, for having that awareness. But have you printed out the sheet? Have you actually started tracking this? And if not, we want to understand, okay, what doesn't feel safe about it? Could you go and do that right now? What's truly stopping you? And sometimes it's just a matter of like, okay, it's my willingness to do it messy, my willingness to be a little cringy. And I was just talking with a client about this past week of like our willingness to get it wrong, our willingness to feel like we're fumbling and awkward and it's not good enough. I feel very much that way right now about doing YouTube videos. Not gonna lie. Like I am very comfortable on audio, but I also know that I can help and reach more people with videos on YouTube. And so part of it is my willingness to be really cringy with these first few videos as I'm figuring it out, as I'm finding my own style and finding, what this looks like and my own flair. It's the willingness to get criticism, to get people who make fun of me, where I have a powerful message. And instead of hearing that message and the willingness to listen or be moved or even to share it with maybe somebody else who might need it, they just want to attack me. They want to criticize my hair or my face or something about me or tell me about my lighting or this is wrong or this is off, right? And it's like that wasn't even the point of the video. People get so hung up on the littlest of things. And there's a part of me that's afraid. It's afraid of being criticized. It's afraid of being rejected. Doesn't want that. I want people to like me. In fact, for a long time, my pattern was, who do you need me to be? Who do you want me to be? I'll be her. I was very much the chameleon. And while that helped in certain senses, while that could be beneficial, it also kept me people pleasing and appeasing and becoming somebody else. It was a very innate learned coping mechanism from emotional abuse that really helped me to stay safe in these environments, to help me to make friends at a moment's notice. Going to 5 high schools, that was a lot. That was really hard. And I'd say that really played into it. But I already knew that game of who do you need me to be because I already had learned that with dysfunctional people that I grew up with, because that was very much the pattern. Instead of who do I want to be? And that can feel kind of scary. And that's okay. We're going to address all of that inside the reclaiming, inside this group where you're going to have other women working through this right alongside you, where we're going to do the work together, where I am going to lead by example. I'm going to go first. I'm going to share first. I think that's part of why I like sharing stories and things on the podcast here now on YouTube, is so that you also can create. It's like, I want to create this space where it's safe for you to share your stuff. So I'm going to tell you I was a binge eater for 14 years. It's why I'm going to tell you more about, that time I dated a sociopath, which like that is coming. That's going to be its own little mini series, because I don't want you to feel guilty or ashamed because you got into a second or a third or a fourth dysfunctional relationship. I want to help you prevent that in the future moving forward. But we've got some internal work to do. It's not that all men are bad or evil. It's not that all men are just children dressed in adult male bodies. There are some really great people out there, but you have to be in an alignment to attract them and to want that, to not push away the healthy men. That's a whole nother topic. Don't know how I got on that little side tangent. That's okay. You're welcome. So, what we want to do though is better understand the past so that we can integrate it into our future. We can learn from it, right? I want to learn not just why I was attracted to my ex and why I stayed so long. I want to better understand what were the emotional needs that he was meeting for me, because that is going to be powerful. That is how I can reclaim my emotional stability. I can reclaim myself and my confidence and my worth is when I am now responsible for my emotional needs. And I don't need that from somebody else. And this is interesting when we are in a society that tells us to look to a man to protect you, look to a man to save you, when we sometimes are painted as this like damsel in distress. And, fairy tales are about the prince rescuing the princess. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with a man that is genuinely in a healthy way wanting to provide for and protect the women in his life. I think there are roles that are natural, but so often as women, I think we're almost relying on that. It's like, well, somebody needs to come and save me. And that somebody may not always be your spouse. It may not always be your dad, but it's like we're relying on someone else to save me. And really, you get to save yourself. And now we take ownership. We take ownership of the patterns. We take ownership of what's happening and what's been going on. And we own our role in the dysfunction. Not that we caused it, not that we ourselves are abusive, even though in the past I was the toxic person in some relationships. But it's not about that. It's not about the shame or the judgment. It's really understanding here's why I got into that. Here's why I was attracted to that. Here's why it was so hard to let this person go. Here's how I needed to rebuild my own confidence and self worth and self esteem. And that is really the core of achieving any goal. And now that you have this baseline of that and being able to leave and walk away from unhealthy relationships, to be able to set better boundaries, to enforce them in a loving and healthy way, to be able to say, like, no, there are natural consequences to that and to certain behavior. And you now don't have access to me in the same way. That is huge. The same thing, the same like system that we go through in terms of like a legal divorce, we have to create an emotional divorce and an emotional divorce from the patterns, from the behaviors, from the toxicity that is often somewhat ingrained in us. So, what is the reclaiming? Let's talk about that a little bit more. So, this is a group coaching experience and it's designed to help you release emotional and disordered eating habits. So, whether it's binge eating, emotional eating, chronic overeating, chronic dieting, it's all of these patterns, all of these habits. The restrict, binge, regret cycle, like that is one of the key concepts that I'm going to help you better to understand and break free from. I'm going to help you to heal the imprint of emotionally unsafe or abusive relationships. Because sometimes relationships were more just emotionally neglectful. They maybe weren't all abusive, but we often have a lot of abuse in our past, in our history. I'm going to help you to lose weight without obsession and without control, without feeling this like desperate need for control and discipline. I'm going to help you to rebuild a deep sense of self trust and to shift your self concept at the nervous system level, like deep in your bones, that you can regulate and change the physical vibrations in your body. That is huge. That is something that we were never taught how to do. All that we knew how to get out of that emotional dysregulation was to try to make somebody else like happy, to try to please them, to placate them, to diffuse the situation. And then maybe it was run away. That was my pattern for a long time. This is not about willpower. This is not about pushing through. This is not about just try harder. This is not about even needing to be someone new or someone that you're not. It's about reclaiming who you've always been, who you were before survival took over, before those survival patterns and mechanisms ran the show. So, this work is for you if you feel calm sometimes, but you still spiral around food, weight, or relationships. You've done therapy or coaching, but something still feels a little unfinished, not quite complete. You understand your patterns, but you still can't seem to change them. That's like we can see it, we can watch ourselves doing it, and yet we also, in a sense, feel helpless to be able to stop and to stop in the moment, to do something different. You likely don't trust yourself. You don't trust your hunger, your emotions, your decisions. You're tired of managing yourself. And you want change that feels grounded, not forced, but truly from a place of calm, deep healing. Now, this is not for you if you're looking for a quick fix or external accountability to shame you into action. We're not about that. If you want rigid rules, meal plans, or discipline-based weight loss, you're not willing to slow down enough to listen to your body, or if you want someone to tell you what to do instead of learning to trust and lead yourself, then I will tell you straight out, this is not the program for you. And I am not the coach for you. But most people listening are really looking for what this offers, for something that is calm, that is grounded, that creates the sense of feeling in control around food in a healthy way, of feeling calm and ease. It's not about even controlling it so much as it's not that obsessive mind drama about food or alcohol anymore. You feel calm and at ease and relaxed. It doesn't matter where you are or who you're with or what's on the table or what's coming out next. It truly doesn't matter because it is so neutral. And it can only be neutral when it stops being the highlight of your day, when it stops being the primary source of joy and pleasure and adventure or relaxation. We have to stop seeking that in food and alcohol. And which means we have to cultivate that in other areas. We can't just say, well, I'm just not going to do this anymore. That's so often what we want. We're like, well, I'm used to relaxing with wine on the couch, but I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to abstain, just say no. But we don't have any other way to feel relaxed. So, of course, we're going to keep going back to the old ways. Of course, we're going to keep those patterns going. This is what I'm going to help you change, to what I'm going to help you transform from the inside out. So, before the reclaiming, food likely feels emotional and chaotic. Weight loss feels hard and impossible to sustain. You second guess yourself constantly. Shame and self criticism quietly run your entire life, all your decision making. And your nervous system is always bracing for the worst. You're always on edge, waiting for the other shoe to drop, even when things seem to be okay. After the reclaiming, food becomes neutral. Food and food decisions become easy, calm, grounded. Weight loss feels easier and sustainable. You trust your body. You trust your decisions. Shame dissolves into self-compassion and curiosity, and you actually know how to learn from mistakes and missteps. You respond instead of react, and you wake up in the morning feeling clear, grounded, powerful, truly empowered. You stop managing yourself and trying to willpower yourself into the right habits, and you start leading yourself. You give yourself permission. So, here's how this works. The reclaiming is a guided group coaching container, and it's designed to create lasting embodied change. So, in the reclaiming, you're going to receive weekly group coaching calls that focus on integration, not on performance. You'll also get a private member podcast so that you can listen to coaching calls and workshops on demand at your own pace. You'll also receive trauma-informed support for disordered eating and emotional patterns, tools to regulate your nervous system and rebuild internal safety, guidance to shift your self-concept at the identity level where it matters most. This foundational level is essential, and the space to process, integrate, and apply without overwhelm. You'll get a Facebook group and an online course so that you never feel stuck, lost, or left behind. There's always people, there's always community. You can learn from other people getting coached. You can ask for support. It's like whether you are raising your hand and you are getting coaching directly, or you're listening or watching somebody else get coached, you still know how to apply that to yourself, how to take that and now look at, how does this apply to me? Where can I implement this? And you're going to also feel so much like love and compassion for yourself. This is where it's really going to sink in of like, oh, it's not me. I'm not the only one who deals with this. There are so many other people who deal with this, who struggle with this too. And we can release some of the shame. We can release some of the judgment, some of the anxiety around that. This is not a high pressure, high output scenario. It's intentionally supportive and deeply transformational. That's how I've designed it, so that I can help you without feeling overwhelmed, but to give you the tools to support you, to guide you so that you have a framework and you have this overarching framework that now you can take and apply to your life. And as you're losing weight and ending emotional eating and you're healing your relationship with food and body, with yourself, with other people, it now doesn't matter where you are, if it's the weekend, if it's a weekday, if you're sick, if you're on vacation, like it's what you can take with you everywhere. No counting points, macros, calories. We're not weighing or measuring food. We are simply learning how to listen and trust our bodies. And that is essential to re-regulating our nervous system, to letting our bodies and our nervous system also teach us who are safe in this world, like the people who are safe and the people who are unsafe. And we need to be able to listen to that, to listen to the emotions. And the more that we can process through past trauma, process through emotions, the more that we can start to discern and differentiate between different types of emotions and the nuance between different emotions, the more we start to actually tune into our bodies to where we can feel hunger, we can feel satiety, we have a better sense of what's happening. It doesn't all just feel the same. This is huge, like the emotional growth and emotional awareness that you're going to gain whether you're with me for 6 months or a year or maybe a little longer. This is like you are going to completely transform how you do life, how you show up in this world. And like to the point that you are going to be completely unrecognizable in all the best ways. So this is built on three core principles: safety before strategy, integration over overwhelm, and clarity before action. So change doesn't happen through pressure. It happens when your system feels safe enough to let go of certain habits and to try new ones instead. Without fear of failure, knowing you'll have your own back, with like knowing that you're not going to shit talk yourself no matter what happens. Okay, we don't override behaviors. We're going to resolve what drives them. And this is the key. It's not about taking away the food, for example. It's not that we take the food away or we take the alcohol away because the food is not the problem. It's we take away the need for that food to meet your emotional needs. We get to the root of what's actually driving it. And when we solve that, when we solve the root issue, the need, the desire, the high desire for the food, it dissipates to the point where you can stop binging. You can have been a binge eater for years, for decades, and you can become somebody who no longer binges. That is possible for you too, but we have to do it in a way where we're addressing the real topics, the real issues, and really understanding how to do that from a trauma-informed lens. And I'm going to bring clarity where there has been confusion, because it's not just about doing more and pushing harder and willpowering over the top. This is really about gaining some clarity on where do you actually put your time, effort, and energy, and making sure that it goes towards the right things. Identifying what even is the real issue or the real problem that you're struggling with. Because again, unless we have to solve the right problem. So if the problem is off, we keep solving the wrong thing. The same aspect with the food. If I think food's the problem, I keep solving it with a food solution. It's not about food. Often it's about our emotional capacity, our emotional stability. It's about coping mechanisms. It's how we've learned to feel safe. It's how we've learned to meet our own needs. It's not bad. This got us far. This helped us survive some really difficult situations. So don't shame yourself. Don't beat yourself up here, but we have to start telling ourselves the truth. Uncomfortable truth over comfortable lies. It's what Glennon Doyle said in her book, Untamed. It's one of my favorite lines. Can we embrace the uncomfortable truth over the comfortable lies? And I say that as somebody who lied to herself and lied to other people around me for nearly 9 months in 2024. Like, I get it. It is hard sometimes. But that's when change can happen. Change will happen when you stop lying to yourself. And we bring so much self love and compassion as we face the truth head on. So, there are a lot of things that make the reclaiming different than any other weight loss program, healing program. I am doing what nobody else is doing in terms of bringing in the diet trauma, the chronic dieting, the issues that we have around emotional abuse with the dieting. with relationship trauma and diet trauma, these two things, this is what we are bringing together. And this is one of the key aspects that no one else is doing. It's one of the key aspects as to why this is different. But beyond that, most programs are only going to focus on what to change. The reclaiming focuses on why change hasn't lasted. And we're going to resolve that first. We're going to get to the root of the problem and we are going to address that. Otherwise, we keep trying to change the fruit at the outskirts, like at the end of the day, versus changing what's under the surface. Okay, we don't shame survival strategies. We don't force healing. We don't rely on discipline and self control, and I just need to try harder or willpower more. And we don't separate weight loss from emotional safety. We don't separate weight loss from how you feel in your relationships or how you feel being single. We don't separate emotional eating from emotionally abusive relationships. We bring it together because they are two sides of the same coin. Instead, we're going to normalize confusion, reduce pressure, create safety for your nervous system, and allow clarity to truly emerge. Because when the pressure comes off, when we can release the pressure, that's when we can truly thrive. That's when we can start to really take the action that we want to take. We start showing up because we have released that pressured hand to get it right or to do it perfectly. But pressure, just like shame, will shut you down, which is why we're very aware of the intentionality behind what we're doing. It's not just about the what, it's why. Okay, this is about identity, not behavior. The real outcome isn't just changed behavior, changed habits. It's becoming a woman who trusts herself. It's becoming a woman with a body that feels like home, where she feels comfortable in her own skin. A nervous system that no longer is in fight or flight or on high alert. And to truly create a life led with self leadership instead of self control. Instead of trying to shut yourself off, stuff yourself in a box, stay small, dim your light, try to be who they want you to be. Don't make waves. Don't play too big. Don't be too loud. We are going to rebel against all of that. We are going to be some rebels with a cause because it's not about just trying to be who they want you to be. Because who they want you to be is often smaller so that they can feel bigger. And we're going to flip that upside down and we're going to let your real, true, authentic self come out. So you can keep understanding the pattern. You can keep circling and trying to get more insight and more ahas and more awareness. You can keep hoping that it's finally going to click on its own, that magically one day, this will be the day where everything changes, where this time for real, you're not going to overeat. You're not going to binge. You've got it all together. You can just keep trying to willpower and work harder, run more, eat less, or you can choose to resolve things from the inside out. Choose to address and identify the root issue and start solving that. The reclaiming is for the moment when you stop waiting for clarity and you decide to create it yourself on purpose, step by step. Because clarity comes from taking action, it comes from getting started. Okay, this is where we let go of those survival strategies and we step into self authority and self leadership, which is something that for many women might feel very scary, might feel like the bad girl. And that's okay. We're going to step into our bitchy era, all right? Because I promise what feels like you being a bitch, I guarantee is not nearly that at all. It just feels a little awkward and uncomfortable, different than what we've done in the past. And that's okay. So, this isn't about inundating you with more information or a new diet, new set of food rules. This isn't about trying to fix yourself. This is truly about helping you to reclaim your body, your confidence, your self worth, to redefine who you are, who you want to be. And the reclaiming is where this happens. We're going to let go of confusion. We're going to let go of the need to please other people. We're going to let go of our survival patterns and those coping mechanisms. We're going to learn how to create our own emotional safety, our own emotional peace. The reclaiming is your next step. So I will drop some links here in the description. You can visit the sales page to learn a little bit more about this. You can schedule a free 20-minute clarity call if you have any questions, comments, fears, regrets, anything that's on your mind that you want to talk through before joining. Or if you are ready, I will also link up some pages where you can just join on the spot. And I will also include my email that way. If you're ready and you want to jump in, you can do it via email. Just send me a message that says I'm in. Or if you do have a question and you prefer to send it via email, you're also welcome to do that too. But the investment, you've got two options. You can join me for 6 months or 12 months, and there are monthly payment options available for both. So for 6 months of coaching and support, it's $3,000. For 12 months, it's $4,000. Most people do best when they join me for 12 months, for a year, where we really have a luxurious amount of time to work through this, to truly heal from the inside out. Again, this is not about quick fixes. This is about changing how you do life, how you show up, how you rewire your brain and start to believe and think new things on purpose, better things about yourself on purpose, intentionally, instead of giving in to the self-doubt and criticism, the self-loathing. Give me 1 year, and I promise you will never be the same. It will completely transform the rest of your life. And so at times, I know a year can feel like a long time because we want it. We want it now. We want it immediately. We want those instant results. And I promise you will start seeing results very quickly within the first couple of weeks. For some people, it's in week 1 or 2. For some, it might be week 3 or 4. But I promise in that first month, you will start seeing results. You will start seeing a shift. You will see a change. 3 months in, bigger changes. 6 months in, even more mind-blowing changes. A year in, and it's like you are unrecognizable. You can't quite believe who you are now versus who you were back then. And now you get to enjoy that for the rest of your life, for decades to come. Give yourself a year, and I promise life will be completely different in all of the best ways. This is how we radically transform. This is how you create the life and body you crave. So I hope to see you inside. I can't wait. We have already started with the weekly coaching, but again, all of the coaching calls are going to be on the podcast. So you'll be able to listen to the replays and be able to start to get help and support immediately. So I can't wait to see you in there. All right. I hope you have a fabulous day. Here's to creating the life and body you crave.